Last time I showed you the ugly, a $500 loss. Hit my daily loss limit, got locked out of my own account, and was unable to trade again that day, even if I want to. Sunday night I came back and I made almost $700. The account is green. I should feel great, right? Well, here's the unfiltered truth. It was not a great trade. It was a good trade. I'm going to prove that to you using replays, actual entries, and what the chart showed me after I closed my eyes, went to sleep, and woke up the next day. Let's go do an autopsy on the Sunday night gap down open. For those of you just finding this channel, welcome. I'm documenting my real journey in attempting to become a six-figure funded trader. Not theory, not hindsight trades, not a highlight reel. The actual thing in real time. I'm 65 years old. Prior to trading futures, I tried my hand at trading options, but I found that theta decay was bleeding me dry. I now day trade ES futures exclusively, and I use the Adam Mancini methodology. That's my plan. And although I've been on the futures journey for about 2 years, I'm just starting to see a level of consistency. Now, I'm going to put a link to that earlier episode in the description below if you want to check it out. Now, in my second video, I showed you how I hit that 500 daily loss limit. The platform locked me out. At the time, I felt like a failure. But looking back, that safety net actually saved my account so I could trade another day. One step forward is that in the past, I wouldn't have even used a DLL. I would have just revenge traded until I blew the account. Now, on Sunday night, that mattered because I still had all of my accounts and I was able to trade. Now, before I walk you through the trade, I want to explain why this setup even existed for me and why it wouldn't exist if I was still trading options. With options, you're subject to normal stock market exchange trading hours, 9:30 to 4, Monday through Friday. That's it. When the market closes, you're done. And while you're sitting there waiting for Monday morning, you're still paying theta. The clock is literally working against you while you sleep. Now, futures are different, just pure price action and no greed. So the futures market, they open Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. They then stay open until 5 p.m. Monday. It opens again at 6 p.m. each weeknight and closes at 5 p.m. the next day, all the way through Friday, 23 hours a day, 5 days a week. Now, I know what you're thinking. Trading around the clock is not the goal. We're trading for freedom, not to be glued to the screens all the time. But what it does give us is the ability to react in real time when the market moves on news that hits after hours, like earnings reports, or before the open. Now, Sunday night, the market gapped down huge, and I was ready for it. I'm going to start this replay, and I saw a failed breakdown setup forming. Now, I'm going to explain exactly what that means in a moment. But first, let me show you the tension before the outcome, because this one got uncomfortable. Now, in my Top Step account, I jumped in with 3 MES at 67.83. I also put on 5 in my Tradeify account, and I'm going to explain that in a bit because I hopped in and out and was able to make a quick $53, and that $53 saved me from being DLL that day. I'll be honest, I was early again. That is still one of my biggest flaws. And because I was early, I sat in drawdown for just over 2 hours, which for me is eternity. I like to get in and get out with a quick scalp and move on. Anyways, I did set a hard $250 stop for Top Step and a $500 stop for Tradeify. About 30 minutes into the trade, the market came literally within a few ticks of taking me out completely. I thought I was heading for another disaster, another red day, and another locked screen. But I held my ground. At least while I was in drawdown, I did not move my stop. Now, of course, I did not have the cameras on during the trade. To be honest, I didn't even think about it. For you skeptics out there, I already showed you the actual accounts and the trades for proof, so you can rewind and look again. I want you to know that this is real. This isn't paper. This isn't for dramatic purposes. This was a trade that I took Sunday night. In fact, let me just show you one more time. All right. In trade C, I took a quick trade for, and this is one of my Tradeify accounts. I get in and out again. I got nervous and moved my stop, but I made a quick 53 bucks. Then I got back in again. By the time I exited, we made the 669 there. Top Step, got in way too early. And then, as you can see, I then added 2 on at when we crossed 93. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. So now let's look at the replay. You can see we were looking good, and then we dipped. We broke that low there. Almost hit my stop, literally within 3 ticks. Now, when we get up to here, I was looking for 83 to cross first. So that's acceptance. We're trying to cross it and we're getting there, but then it still sat there for a while. It slowly edged up to 93. I now added where this arrow is where I added the 2 MES on my Top Step account. I was already in 5 with Tradify, so I was fine. Now, it ended up chopping around here for several hours. So finally, at around, let me get there. Finally, at around 10:30, I decided, you know what? I've had enough. I'm not going to sit here all night. So I went to bed, and what I did is I did move my stop at that point. So I put on the $200 stop. I did move it, so that way I would at least make $200 no matter what, should the market come back down. And again, with such a huge gap down, with all the war headlines and everything, the reason I did that is to protect the profit, because one tweet and this whole thing would have gotten messed up. So I went to bed at about 10:30. I set my profit protection stop here. My other stop was just below this zone here, which was critical the week prior. So I didn't know if it was going to sharply reject from there. So I set my stop just a little below the beginning of that zone. And we'll see this play out. So it did take a while. It continued to chop around until about 2 o'clock in the morning is when it finally got up there. And this first pierce of it is when I sold both, I locked out both Tradify and Top Step. Boom, right there. So right now we're looking good. We've locked in approximately $700 on each account. So when I woke up, obviously I was happy. I mean, I had $700 in each account. And for me, that's an incredible day. With the price target hitting around 2:30 in the morning, I was sleeping like a baby. I felt relieved, genuine relief. I had a new equity high in both my Top Step account and Tradify accounts. And then I looked at what the market did after I exited. So when we opened, we continued to rock it up. It actually ended up running another 100 points on Monday. You may recall, I mean, this whole week has been a lockout rally. But here's where I didn't follow the Mancini methodology correctly. I should have kept some runners. Ideally, you sell 70% at your first target, 15% at your second, and then the final 10% you just hold. So I should have kept a runner. Had I done that, here's where it hurt. So I made about $700 on the 5 MES contracts with that move that I was overjoyed with. But had I just kept 2 MES contracts left as runners, I would have made an additional $1,000 that day alone. Money the setup gave me, money I never made by letting fear run the trade instead of the plan. I'm still caught in that profit mindset when I need to be in the process mindset. Listen, I'm extremely happy with the trade. Don't get me wrong, but we always want to analyze how it can get better, right? So even though I had a good trade, it wasn't a great trade. Now here's where my account stands right now. My Top Step XFA, I'm at $1,071. I got 3 winning days. Need to have 5 to get a payout. In my Tradify funded account, I'm only at 437. As we had a huge $500 hit on Friday I took in Tradify. I did not take that hit in the Top Step accounts, and that's why there's that disparity. Got 2 winning days in this account towards 5 to get a payout. Now in the challenge account, I'm up $1,130 and need to make $3,000 to pass, and I'll get another funded account. The lesson from this autopsy is simple. Consistency is built on the carcass of these mistakes, and we want to be consistent. This week we saw an extremely rare, it was a historic move. Now Monday, after the market opened, we had a 100-point regular market hour run that after we had broke out overnight. Then through the rest of the week, we had essentially a lockout rally. Now, normally when you have runners, they're going to stop out at break even, maybe give you a small gain, but at least you're in the market. This week, this run, that's exactly why we always want to have them on. For the rare days when the setup is an A plus, The market delivers. I mean, it's been a slow week for me since Monday. I took maybe one or two trades to just try setups. They were not A plus at all. I ended up getting stopped out. It's the old me still. Didn't lose money, didn't make money. Now, my next goal, and hopefully it'll come next week, we'll get an A plus setup. And I want to move from 5 MES to 7 MES. I want to use those two extra contracts as dedicated runners. To do that, I need to get the entry down perfectly. No more jumping in early. Patience earns the right to size up. Now, while I am $700 richer this week, I'm still learning to trust the level. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something from this. If you're tired of the fake gurus and want to see the real struggle of mastering discipline in the markets from someone who's 65 years old and been doing this for real, hit subscribe. Let's get to that first payout together.